And we are back here in First Bite with former Lion safety Glover Quin. You talked a little bit about Tracy Walker there. He's the one I kind of want to tackle because, like you said, he's kind of the one guy still remaining from the regime when you were there. And he's mentioned you a lot of times in terms of his growth and how important you were. So from 2018 Tracy Walker to 2022 Tracy Walker, what's the biggest difference?
I mean, I haven't saw 2022 Tracy Walker yet, but I will say the more you play, the slower the game becomes,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start to see things quicker. So when you see it quicker, your brain processes it and it slows the game down, right? Like, think about for us, we're not used to seeing 95-mile-per-hour baseballs. So if we stand in that box, it's going to come at us like a bullet, like, oh my gosh, right? Those guys see it every single day. So to them, yeah, it's still 95, but it probably don't look 95. You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
slows down for those guys. So it's the same way for us. When you first get out there, the game is moving so fast because for one, you got to get over the point of feeling of I'm just in the NFL, right? Like, man, this is the big stage. That's Tom Brady over there, bro. Like, man, like Tom Brady probably been in the league as long as some of these guys have been born,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they've grown up their whole entire life hearing of Tom Brady. And now that's Tom. You got to get over that portion of it at
Yeah.
first, right? So the game is just moving. It's a lot of pieces coming at you, special teams, offense, defense, this position, this formation, this, like all these different things, right? And so the more you play, the game slows down and your talent can really, really, really start to come out, especially if you apply yourself to the game, you really work at it and you prepare. You know what I'm saying? Coach Wade used to always tell us failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And so the longer you're in it, you learn how to prepare. You know what it takes to make it through a whole season, right? Because you've been through 17 games before, right? You know, okay, my body needs to feel this way. And so I've seen Tracy become better in that standpoint. Now, can he make plays? Yes. I want to see him make more plays. I want to see him not be okay with just making a tackle. Try to get the ball out. Try to like become, you know, there was a part in my career when I came into the league, I was known as a tackler. Wasn't a great cover guy, wasn't this fast, speedy corner, but I was a physical guy. I was a tackler, right? And so you come in the league and you're trying to be who you are, right? They said I was a physical guy, so I'm going to be physical. I'm tackling everybody. I'm hitting old linemen, any and everything moving, right? And then you start to learn, okay, well, I like the ball, right? Like I want to do more than just tackle. I want the ball. And once I got to that point and I got the opportunity to experience that, because early in my career, I didn't really have that opportunity. I didn't get put in those situations to like get the ball, right? Yeah, we're all on the field and we all have a chance, but there's different positions and different situations where you have more of a chance, right? Once I got to that point, I really became a different player. Yeah, I could still tackle, but I was more concerned about getting the ball than making the tackle. So if I can punch the ball out, I'm gonna get credit for the tackle, and I'm gonna have a forced fumble, and I'm gonna try to have a fumble recovery, and the team's gonna have a turnover. So my mentality switched. I wanted the ball. I didn't just want to make a tackle and say, "Oh yeah, I made a tackle." No, I wanted to be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get the ball and give it back to Matt Stafford. So then Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate, those guys can score touchdowns. And now I can be like, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Trace, I want him to get to that point to where,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I make tackles. I make a lot of tackles, but I want to come out of the season with 7, 8 turnovers, 3 or 4 interceptions, 2 or 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 3 or 4 sacks. Like I want to be a game changer on defense.
Yeah, and I think that's so interesting. You framed it that way too, Glover, because I think a lot of people in football circles view turnovers as being something that is fluky. Like a defense can have a lot of turnovers one year and then they can have not so much the following year. But the way you're framing it makes it sound like a mentality thing, right? Like it's not just the tackle isn't enough. It's, to go get the ball.
It's definitely a mentality, And I'm gonna say that because I got all these little stories, man. Because I remember when J.J. Watt was a rookie, right? J.J. Watt was a rookie. We drafted him in Houston in 2011, and J.J. Watt came in, and J.J. Watt used to put his hands up in practice and bat down 6 or 7 balls of practice, right? Literally, like we're trying to practice as a defense. And in the secondary, it was hard for us to get work because JJ was knocking the balls down, right? But then we get in the games, and guess what? JJ's knocking the balls down. If you remember, JJ's rookie year, we playing Cincinnati in the playoffs. I think it was Andy Dalton tries to throw a screen pass out to, I think, his right side. JJ Watt jumps up, picks it off, returns it for a touchdown, right? So the things that he was doing in practice translated into the games, right? Trash that till I get to Detroit. We were making turnovers mentality. Like we were punching the ball out. Running backs, receivers, they're running. They had to get all the way back to the huddle with the ball. So they might be done ran for a touchdown, 40 yards. Guess what? Now they running back to the huddle. Somebody's coming and punching the ball out. And next thing you know, you might have ran for a touchdown, but you still fumble. All right. So that was just a mentality that we had. We were just hunting the ball over and over and over. And then, ball go up in the air. We took pride in catching that ball. Get that ball. Like, don't let that ball drop on the ground. Every time a ball hits the ground, we're scooping it up in the backfield. Pass break up, incomplete pass. It didn't matter. We're scooping that ball up. So then when you get in the game, your mentality is, I'm trying to get the ball. And you look at that year, 2014, I think we had tons of turnovers. I had a bunch of them. Diggs, James Ahedebo had a bunch of them. Yeah. Rasheem Mathis, Slade, like DeAndre Levy, like everybody, we're getting in on getting the football. And that's a mentality that you just build. Don't just happen on game day, though.
Well, another guy that the Lions are hoping will be that defensive playmaker is Jeff Okudah. I'm curious if you've had any conversations with that young kid yet, and maybe give him some encouragement given the start to his NFL career.
Yeah, I've talked to Jeff a few times over the course of the different years.
Yeah.
We've watched some film together, a lot of different things. This year going to training camp was my first time actually meeting him in person. Everything had been virtual or over the phone and things like that. So seeing the kid, he's a huge corner. You know what I'm saying? Like he has all of the physical aspects that you want to see in a corner. But that is not everything that it takes to play corner.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that can run, that can jump, that you got to have the mental capacity. You got to have the confidence. You got to have the mental feeling of, I can cover these guys. I can make these plays. I can do these things. And the situation that he came into, I wouldn't say it was the greatest situation for him as a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Him being probably the veteran corner in the league. Yeah, I know they had Desmond Trufant that came in one year, but Slay was gone.
Oh, you muted yourself.
My bad.
Okay.
All those veteran guys were gone. And so him being in that system with those coaches and the guys and that culture that he came into, can't say it was the best for him as far as the development goes. And then obviously dealing with the injury last year. And so now you look at this guy, he's going into the third year of his career.
Yeah.
And people are already writing him off. You know what I'm saying? And they're not understanding the situation that he came into, for one. Then you change coaches. Now you get a new coach. And then, boom, you get hurt the first game. Now you're out for the season. And now he got a whole heap of pressure on him because they took him so high in the draft. And they want to know, was he worth it? And so I feel bad for him because he has that much pressure on him. And he's still trying to learn. And when you look at the DB room, who's the veteran corner that he's had to be able to learn the game from? He hasn't had that. Like I said, True Font was there, but I don't feel like True Font was there in a veteran leadership role. He was there on a 1-year kind of deal. He's trying to get his money and whatever, right? So who has Jeff had to learn the game, to learn how to be a pro from a corner? He hasn't had that. And so it's going to take some time to develop these guys. It's like I say, you going from one system, now you're in a totally different system. And then you got hurt last year. You didn't even get a chance to. So it's tough. So hopefully he can stay strong mentally and bounce back and play with the confidence and swagger that we saw when he was at Ohio State. We obviously seen that there was an immense talent right there. They took him so high in the draft. And so hopefully that stuff can come back out and he can regain that form and be the player that, he was expected to be.
Yeah, it's a lot like, Darius Slay having Rasheed Mathis. Having that veteran quarter presence is huge. So interesting enough, you bring up the expectations and all that comes with it being, third overall pick as Jeff Okudah was. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Kirby Joseph, the Lions' third round pick out of Illinois, but you also being a mid round pick yourself, like what are those kind of expectations that you have for yourself and that maybe the coaching staff has for you, where it's not, all right, you're going to start from day one because you were the third overall pick. Like, where do you think Kirby is at? And how do you view him as a prospect?
Well, I mean, I would say this because, I haven't seen enough of him to know, you know what I'm saying? I just haven't. And like I said, when you come in as a rookie, things are happening so fast and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't really put a lot of stock into all of that because they got to learn the game.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'll be willing, and I don't know this for sure, so this is not facts, but this is just, I would be willing to say the chances of having a great career, I would probably say draft me in the third, fourth, or fifth round because you're still a good football player, right? And when you get drafted third, fourth, or fifth round, you probably feel like you could have went a little higher, right? So now you got a chip on your shoulder, right? But then now guess what? You was a third, fourth, or fifth rounder. So the expectations aren't super high, right? So if you're not a Blazer your first year, it's okay. You was a fourth rounder. We just need you to contribute on special teams and be a little, come in sub guy, right? So you have time to develop and learn, especially if you get in a good system, right? And the next thing you know, those kids learn it, they get it, they get more reps, they got that chip on their shoulder, they want it, and then all of a sudden, they have a breakout year, right? And now they're the star. They get paid. They don't have fifth-year options in their contracts, right? They have a role their first year. They play good their second year. They break out their third year. Now they're getting extensions. So now they get money and they feel good. They go out and they play more and more and more. And that chip never leaves off their shoulder because they still remember all the guys that got drafted in front of them, all the teams that they hit. And next thing you know, those guys go on and have great careers. We didn't say who makes the most money. We said have great careers because you can be a first rounder and make a lot of money and then, get a second contract and make more money because you was, what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you look at the career, third, fourth, and fifth rounders, those guys, if you can come out of that and play 8, 9, 10 years, you probably had a really good career and played at a high level. So expectations in this league, man, they draft these kids and they want them to be superstars from the very beginning. And just because they're talented don't mean they're going to be a superstar. They still have to learn the game. And everybody's learning curve is different. Everybody's. So we just got to be patient. We can't just assume that Jameson Williams is going to come in and be Calvin Johnson as soon as we let him go. Like, he's not. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a kid that missed the OTAs. He missed training camp. He missed the preseason. So if he gets to come back and play this year, he's going to be thrust in right in the middle of a season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be any earlier than week 6.
Right.
Because he don't even come off the list
pup,
to
yeah.
at least week 4.
Right.
Then they're gonna probably make him practice at least 2 to 3 weeks before
Right.
you throw him out there as off of ACL. So he's gonna be coming out there with guys that's been, they've been out there for 8 weeks. And now you're gonna be fresh out there. You didn't go through OTAs, didn't go through preseason, you didn't go through these joint practices, none of that stuff. We can't expect him. Not saying that he can't do it, but as a expectations, you can't expect him to come out there and be grand.
Right.
If he is, great, but you can't expect that.
Right.
Yeah. It sounds like you're speaking from experience as a guy who did that exact same thing that you just laid out. So
I mean, I did. I was, I did. I was a 4th rounder and I came in and, did I feel like I could have won the 3rd round? Of course. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, everybody feels like they can go higher.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Did I feel like I was better than some of the guys that got drafted before me? Of course. But I also understood the system and how things work, right? I mean, I played at the University of New Mexico, which is a great school. Everybody check out the Lobos. But there's other guys that played at Ohio State, like Malcolm Jenkins. He played at Ohio State. Vontae Davis, he played at Illinois when he was coming out. You had Darius Buntley, he played at UConn, and you had Patrick Chung that played at Oregon. And like you had these guys that played at bigger schools. And so I understood that. Were they better than me? I don't know, but they're going to get perceived that way because they played at a better school, right? So I had a chip on my shoulder, but I understood the game for what it was. But I knew now that we're all in the same place, right? So that's the biggest thing I used to say in the locker room. I don't care if you went to Alabama. I don't care if you went to Jackson State. We're all in the same room now, boss.
I love it.
If you that legit, then be that legit. But right now, I'm this kid from New Mexico.
I love that you still remember everyone. You like we saw Amon-Ra, run through all the guys in the draft before. You still remember. You still remember all these years later.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna close the thing out with a little rapid fire questions at the end here. You don't have to go into long answers here, but they're just kind of fun little questions. So
Okay.
Let's start with best place to eat in Detroit.
Shields Pizza.
Oh wow, no hesitation there.
None.
I love that.
And Bellacino's. I like Bellacino's.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Lions teammate you talked the most with today.
Darius Slay and Quandre Diggs.
Figured that might be the answer. What's the favorite interception of your career?
Either Drew Brees 2014 or Matt Ryan 2017.
God, those were my 2 answers for you too. Love it.
Thing you miss most about life in the NFL?
The games, playing the games. And you know what? Well, you know what I will say? The locker room is fun.
Yeah.
Being in the locker room around the guys, talking with the guys, you miss that part of it as well.
What about the thing you don't miss about the NFL?
Weighing in every week.
Love it.
I don't miss that at all.
All right. Well, that's Glover Quin. Let me give you a chance to plug your podcast or anything else that you want to plug before we let you go here.
Oh yeah, man. Check us out on the Believe Network. Me and my awesome co-host Jack Kavanaugh. Doing a great job of covering the lines, and it's been fun. So check us out. Check out all these podcasts. People put a lot of time in to bring you as much information as they can about the Detroit Lions or whatever it is you listen to, whatever team, NFL, whatever it is. So check them out. Support. It's a good thing.
And that's BLEAV, as in Believe in Lions podcast. Glover,
Yes.
Awesome job here, man. It's always great catching up with you. I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you maybe more out there in Allen Park these days.
Oh yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you all for listening. We will be back soon, recapping the final preseason game on Sunday night. But until then, thank you for joining us. It's Chaos. Be kind.